What's up, everybody, and welcome to the MUT Cast. It is December now, Gibbs. We are into the holiday season for real. I am AJ. Joining me here on the couch, we've got Zach Farley. You know him as Z Farles. And then S. Gibbs, Stephen Gibbons down there at the end. Guys, we just got back from the Madden Classic. It could not have gone better, in my opinion, than it did. It was much better than I even anticipated, and I anticipated a lot. So what were your kind of thoughts on it? Don't spoil everything yet, because we've got a really cool video that we're going to show you guys. But what do you guys think?
I mean, overall, the thing to look at in the video, in my opinion, was defense. Ultimately, the entire championship was crowned because of defense. So we had our first Classic winner. We expected a lot of offense, and we did get it at times. But for the most part, defense was the play of the day.
Yeah, it was crazy to see how you look at last year's game, such an offensive game, throw the ball down the field, chuck it all over the place, aggressive catch everywhere, blah, blah, blah. And then you get into this year's game. We knew that Spot Me Please was the offensive player. We knew that D. Jones, defensive-minded, but he comes in more of an offensive player this year. All this offense was the talk of the day. Even Spot Me Please winning 35-0 against Monster. And then we get into the championship match, and the game was completely decided by defense.
Completely. Literally decided by defense.
Literally not one offensive touchdown was scored in that championship match, which that is mind-numbing to actually think, no offense. But
at the same time, you could argue that sort of mimicked the NFL this year as well, with Denver beating Carolina through their defense. Trying to remember. I think Peyton Manning threw one touchdown in that Super Bowl game, thinking back on it. But it was a great event. We have a sick video. We're going to show you that. So here it is right here. Here's a recap of the Madden Classic.
Welcome to the Madden Classic, everyone. These players are competing for the largest prize pool in competitive Madden history, and it all starts today with the Madden Classic.
Johnson will rumble, and it'll be a touchdown. Spot Me Please opens up this tournament with the first score. Problem's going to have to answer. Emmitt Smith rumbles.
That is exactly what Problem needed right there.
It's good.
Away.
Can he get to the outside?
Are you kidding me?
One man to beat. He's at the 20, the 10, the 5, and it's another touchdown for Wiki Williams with 5 seconds remaining.
2nd and 8
Good
on
run.
the 37. He's got space. Todd Gurley's got plenty of speed. Couple of guys on his heels, but he's got plenty of room into the end zone. And Joe is going to tie this one up.
Look for Cook the Sky over the middle.
Doesn't do it. He fights for his bread into the end zone. Jared Cook punches it in for Vitek.
Vitek trying to run.
What a fantastic shoot.
This kid's
back to the inside. An unbelievable run there. That's the type of skill that you see at this level.
4th and 7. This is the game. Rolling out. Has a man deep. It's Marshall. And Duke will win.
It's a good move. Derrick Henry trying. Is he in? He's in for the touchdown, so Derrick Henry puts the first points on the board there for Monster Got Stick.
Yeah, right here you see again. Look at all those defenders there.
He's able to go outside, and that is going to be pay dirt. Little man will go up.
Trying to get that touchdown. That's Dello!
That's blocked!
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Field goal!
Dello with another blocked field goal.
This could be big. Can he get a block?
Wow.
He does! And he will go in for another score.
Trueboy snaps the ball. Phillip Rivers, his quarterback. He finds Boria. Boria breaks a tackle into the end zone.
Defense, that's a shake-style defense. D. Jones with a crispy play. Oh, no, but it happened again, and he went backwards. And D. Jones laughs at Kim.
But he has to get the ball back, and he hasn't been able to do so thus far. Throwing deep, and Robinson comes up with the grab. Huge grab, and those guys are talking some serious smack. 30-14 lead, going for the field goal. D. Jones beats young Kiv. I wonder if we're going to see a handshake. Nope, not going to see it.
Look wow. That is Robinson. He's up the sideline at the 20, the 10, the 5, touchdown. Jones moves to 2-0. Boogs now 1-1.
S. Gibbs loves to throw the ball in the red zone.
Got it. Only way to do it. Scored 1 million touchdowns in my day that way. Dot!
And just like that, he hits Aiken over the middle.
Play fake.
Wow. We've seen that before today from Boogs.
The nice play action. He winks to the camera again. One up, Boogs and D. Jones moving on to the round of 8. The first play around anyway. Throws the dot to Rattle. And John Brown in the end zone again. 35-0 the final score. Spot me, please, over FMB Monster.
He's already been stopped on the goal line in this situation.
Play action. He's got a man.
Anyway, for patience. What patience by Boogs. What poise. That's how you get it done.
And Boogs is going to kneel this one out with a 10-point lead. No, but he will pitch it outside. He'll take the gamble, and he'll walk in for 6. The snap, the hold, the kick, and it's good, and we are headed to overtime. He'll toss it outside. He gets the block.
That's it.
He's headed out, and D. Jones will move on. It's a walk-off in overtime.
Great play fake again.
This time, high points it, and it's Barnage again. The question is, will this make its way out of bounds? And it will, and Estelow, he's the Cinderella. He'll be moving on.
Story to the Final Four.
So out of the gun split close, T.Y. Hilton motioned out. He throws to Aiken, though. Aiken breaks a tackle. Gets past the second and into the end zone.
Get to the sideline.
Screen pass.
Diabolical!
Not a terrible idea.
Didn't get out!
And Spot Me Please moves on to the championship, Farles.
You can't run interior here. You gotta go outside.
And it is the toss. And they get the block. And now D. Jones has the lead.
And that's talk about Madden IQ, talk about football IQ.
So D. Jones will remain perfect in this tournament, and he will face another player that hasn't lost.
All right, guys, we're ready. The crowd is ready. We're pumped up. We're ready to go. It's the championship game. It's Spot Me, Please. It's D. Jones. Let's do this right now.
A little bit of pressure. It's going to be a pick. He's at the 30, the 20, the 10. Give that man 6. We had 4 turnovers in this game. 2 fumbles by Spot Me, Please. 2 interceptions by D. Jones. And this is a fumble. And he picks it up. Can it be a scoop and a score? They will not get hit.
Are you kidding me? Spot Me, please. Look at the emotion on that young man's face.
Taylor, your defense carried you this time. You fought through a ladder of millions of players. You deserve this belt. Carry this home to your wife and kid as the first ever Madden Classic champion.
All right. There you go, guys. That is the recap of the Madden Classic. Some huge, huge moments for those of you who watched either the first, second, and third all day or part of the day. We thank you guys for watching. Obviously, this is for you. We do it for you guys. And thank you guys for joining us on that journey to finding a Madden Classic champion. Congratulations, big congratulations to all our competitors. The final 16, and of course, especially Spot Me Please, D. Jones, both playing in the championship game. Neither one of those guys, I think that was the most impressive thing for me, neither one of those guys had lost a single game going into the championship game. And then, of course, Spot Me Please won it. So he went undefeated in the entire live finals, which I thought was really impressive. Farles, what were some of your biggest moments? Obviously, I think everybody kind of enjoyed the no shake moment. It provided a little drama on Saturday.
The handshake was tough. It was a tough situation. He had given up some points late that were almost kind of like tacked on. I think he was very frustrated. He also, tough way to get out in the group stage. I think there's some familiarity there, offline, online. They just don't really like each other. I think D. Jones definitely has that confident attitude that can rub people the wrong way when they're on the sticks. And so young Kiv decided not to shake, and that's what you go with.
He'll figure it out from there too. He's kind of just figuring out what it means to be in this competitive scene.
Yeah.
When you're playing a game like that, there's so much emotion that goes into it, and I think that clearly shows how much it means to Kiv.
I was impressed by Kiv that we saw 2 competitors in the early group stages get emotional, and they lost their rest of their games because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Once that point where they went over the boundary of emotion, it caused them to play poorly on the field, which if you've ever yelled or thrown a controller or yelled at the TV
I've definitely done it.
maybe even swore once or twice, then you know that feeling.
Not
where,
you, Farrells.
Where you
Cool-headed Farrells.
you go beyond the rage, right? It instills. He was able to recover and actually play a really nice second game and get into the third game who
was the second game? It would have
been Bugs, D. Jones, Kiv, and
who's the last guy?
Fourth guy in that group was
Sino.
True Boy, wasn't it?
No, Sino. He beat Sino.
Oh, you're right.
So he beat Sino, and then he had a chance in his third game still to
winning
go.
it in, yeah.
So if you get blown out and you still have a win and get in game, you got to feel good about that, and you'll continue to grow as a player.
A few thoughts I had on the event. I saw a lot of criticism of young Kiv on Twitter and things like that. Wasn't necessarily my place to say much during the broadcast, but I'll say it here on the MUT Cast. The guy is 19 years old. Cut him some slack. I think we've all been frustrated after a sporting event or after losing a huge game of Madden. Like, there's a lot of money on the line, too, for these tournament games.
Life-changing stuff. Like the money, the opportunities from winning it.
Nobody should be defined by 5 second or even 1 hour of their life on camera. Please don't. Like, I've talked to him in person. He's actually a really nice kid. He'll
learn. He'll learn from it.
Or you don't have to shake.
Correct.
You don't like somebody?
Correct.
Don't shake.
Don't have to shake.
That's the other.
I wouldn't shake his hand. Like, don't you don't like somebody? Don't shake their hand. Who cares?
Don't dab me up.
It's not hockey. It's not like
right.
It's not like, oh, my mom told me to shake hands growing up. Like, I don't care. Like, if he doesn't care, then he doesn't care. That's fine. You can totally make your bed. You just gotta lie in it, right?
In which he is. He's just owning it, and that's what it is, and that's fine.
I like it.
Yeah. So,
yeah, he didn't regret it.
Great event, though. Overall, great event. A lot of good stuff happened.
Good event.
Congratulations again to Spot Me Please. Congratulations to all the competitors who made it to the group stages, single eliminations. We obviously have Madden Bowl coming up. But before we get into Madden Bowl specifically, we should talk about Javoris Allen.
Well, that's what I was going to get to, Gibbs.
Yeah.
One of the highlights of this event was how D. Jones and Bugs used this guy, a 70 overall silver base item in Draft Champions. Bugs, he was a backup. He also had Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry got tired a lot because Bugs ran the ball a lot, and then Buck Allen came into the game. D. Jones, literally his offense revolved a lot around Buck Allen, and Buck Allen performed extremely well for him. The guy has like an 83 carry, which is actually pretty good for a base player.
So pretty good strength. He wasn't the fastest, but he got the job done. Overall, I mean, I think D. Jones ran the ball against successful fronts, and he had good run plays. That was more the part of his success. But I was impressed with Buck Allen. He seemed to fall forward. He seemed to play well. I think his auction price went up over the weekend. And, it shows you that you need to be testing all these items. There's a Darius Jackson bronze that runs really well. And if you don't have to spend that extra cap or those extra coins on a Ricky Williams or a Derrick Henry, you can get away with using a guy like this. I think it goes a long way. I think at the end of the day, we saw guys like Emmitt Smith really separate themselves and really be the best players in the event. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't expect to see guys like Steven Jackson, who stiff used last year, get value for the right team. The meta is to fall forward for yards. You need a guy that will fall forward for 1 to 2 yards, and Buck Allen did just that.
Yeah, and two things.
And he hung onto the rock.
2 things on this. Don't discount the fact that D. Jones played a heck of a lot of draft champions to get to the point where he knew all these playbooks and items so well that he knew, I don't need to draft a running back because I feel confident in Buck Allen. I feel confident that when he saw that guy on his base roster, he said, I don't necessarily need an Emmitt Smith. Maybe he didn't get the chance to draft an Emmitt Smith, but at the same time, he filled out his roster and he did really well in the tournament. He didn't lose because of Buck Allen. That's for sure. He threw a lot of interceptions.
True. Yeah, you figure though if he has a true stud at halfback, maybe he would have ran a little bit more in the final game. His defense and his secondary is where all his resources went in the draft. If you looked at his offense, I mean, he was throwing game-sealing routes on that 4th and 9 that we saw in the great recap video. We saw a route to Victor Cruz with the game on the line. Like, that's a route you want to be Marvin Harrison. That's a route you want to be Alshon Jeffrey, like we saw. it was Victor Cruz for D. Jones. It was Buck Allen for D. Jones. It was Phillip Rivers who was playing really well for him, for D. Jones. But overall, his offense wasn't the juggernaut. His defense wasn't even that incredible, but he did have the secondary players. That's where a lot of his guys went. He got the job done. He made it to the finals. He didn't lose a game till the last game.
I was just impressed with how he made use of that 70 overall player. He made use of a silver player. And for those of you who are competing right now, climbing the leaderboards, climbing the ladder in Season 2, try to keep that in mind. Try to test out these players, just like Farrell said. Get into practice mode, get into games, and try out all these players and get that experience that you need, because that's how you are evaluating the talent on your team. Gibbs, the next thing we got to talk about is this championship defense that Spot Me Please was running during the tournament. Can you explain
Browns
this dollar
playbook
defense?
Yeah,
Browns playbook.
Browns playbook.
Yeah, he's in the Browns playbook specifically, but you're going to be able to find it in any dollar formation that you find. So $326, you can see it. You could see it here in this formation. Farles, you take offense here.
Yeah.
And not to like break down too much of what he was doing setup wise, because that's his, and we want to make sure we keep that for him. But we can kind of show you what made it so difficult for people to key in on Spot Me Please defense and why he had such a run and why he shut people out, like guys like Monsta. So what he was able to do from the dollar look was have a uniform look on both sides of the field, and he was able to generate pressure from the left slot here with Williams and the right slot with Bodie Calhoun. So you didn't know which one of those guys was ever coming to come after the quarterback. So at the snap of the ball here, you have to be ready. Okay, is it pressure left or is it pressure right? And you can see it would come scream through there, and then it would force you to roll out. You'd get into weird situations and then go.
Yeah, and I like the fact too that he there was a lot of people trying to apply pressure on the right side because there were a lot of right-handed quarterbacks forcing. I can't tell you how many times I called the play as whoever, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, whoever, backpedaling, because that's what they were constantly doing, is backpedaling to keep away from that pressure, which I was impressed. It didn't always come from that side, obviously, but how much of that strategy plays into it, Gibbs, trying to keep him from rolling to his more comfortable side of the field?
I mean, it's super important. If you look here, you're going to see this left side. Like, I'm going to roll away here, and I'm just trying to get pressure, trying to get time. He's got spies. He's got kind of everything, and we did see some big plays, but the more you roll and the more you make them move, especially if you're playing a guy like D. Jones with Phillip Rivers, who's not known to do that, at Tom Brady, who's not known to do that. You don't in salary cap, you'll see more mobile quarterbacks who have that high throw on the run rating. But in the base teams, you're going to see guys like Matt Ryan, and they might not be able to roll quite as well and get out, and they're going the wrong way, and then they got to throw on the run. You see that red throw on the run, that means you lost.
Well, not just that, but
you pay a penalty.
Yeah, and you have to play, like, you have to spin around. That's like a full animation to spin around and then turn back around to get set. So it's literally a slower process to try and get into a position where your feet are set when you're going the opposite side of your natural. So if you're basically having to run left with a right-handed quarterback, that's much more difficult. And I saw that a lot during the tournament, is these guys sending pressure to not his blind side.
And one thing
to his face
that Spot Me did really well was he sent the pressure both ways. So if you look up here on the game, you're going to see the blitzer, now that I think it's coming left or now that I think it's coming right, they actually send it both ways, and it can get in and actually take you out. So, and then if they block a halfback, one of those guys will still come in. So it's a whole mind game that Spot Me was playing. He set it up really well. He took away what D. Jones wanted to do, and the pressure at the end of the day is what won him the championship.
Yeah, and if you take a look at the way he played his last couple drives, you saw this look right here, which looks very uniform and similar to like a 3-4. But you have all these corners on the field for extra coverage, and then he took advantage of Khalil Mack. So one thing he was doing, a crash out here, and this is something specific, so snap the ball. Here, and you're going to see he would see the one-on-ones on the outside. You'd have the guard, the two guards in the center. They would kind of like, who do I go after? And they'd go after the center, the D tackle directly with the center. And then you'd have both of your D ends, your book ends after the quarterback at one-on-one, and that's where you saw Khalil Mack. So take a look at the D ends here. So this was great coverage defense from Spot Me Please. So here's that uniform look. It's the same formation, which he's sending pressures from. But take a look. The tackles 77 and 61. So Solder and Cannon are now matched up one-on-one. So when you get in coverage situations.
And you got a high-rated guy like Khalil Mack. He does a move. He wins one-on-one, and then all of a sudden you got to get rid of the ball.
So when he was up by 14, or was it 17, or whatever, 17-3, late in that game, he said, okay, I'm not going to send pressure anymore. I'm just going to play this coverage. I'm going to make him throw into coverage, but I know that I have the dogs up front to help me win those one-on-one battles. Right here, again, like you see it, like it was just phenomenal defense, amazing preparation, understanding the game, understanding situations, and, just high-level Madden, and it was great to see it from Spot Me Please.
Yeah, he did a great job. Just one of many reasons why he won the Madden Classic, and now he has that sick belt at home and an extra $30K. All right, any final thoughts from you guys on the Classic?
Just thanks to everybody for checking it out. I mean, it's just a start. If you're qualifying right now for Season 2, you can do that through Salary Cap Ranked or Draft Champions Ranked. Obviously, with Salary Cap, you have the opportunity to start setting your lineup, as that is what the Madden Bowl, which is the second event, will be played on. And so it's probably a good idea to get your team going. And
definitely want to get your team going.
Yeah, start to look for some of those values. Guys like Buck Allen, guys that you saw in the tournament play well. Start to pack your lineup with them. And look for some tips coming on these social channels below to really help you get started.
Yeah. Gibbs, anything else?
No, I'm excited for the next event. I think the Madden Classic was a great first event, a great first showing by everyone that was competing and playing. I'm just excited to see the next one now. I'm excited to see the same storylines. The question was, is D. Jones a draft champions player? I mean, that's the question. He was playing all that. Does he get back? He's going to be in the group stage. We know that. How is he going to do in salary cap? I'm very curious to see. I think he is good enough. The way he played his defense, it's going to cause a lot of problems, and I'm excited to see how the Madden Bowl shapes
I'm
out.
guessing we won't see him with a Buck Allen at the salary cap tournament, but we don't know.
Right.
Probably not. I anticipate we'll see a lot of the same guys, but the last takeaway I had was I'm really excited for whoever makes it to the live finals for the Madden Bowl. I'm excited to finally meet some of these new people. I thought it was really cool that we had guys like D. Jones, like Spot Me Please, like Boogs, like Skimbo, who all made it, last year to live finals. But we also got to meet some new people. I had never met Sino Gotti on the leaderboards. I finally got to meet him. Great guy. He got a lot of flack from Rico during the broadcast, but he was a great guy, and he obviously did a lot to earn his spot in that. Of course, meeting some of the other new guys like VTech, what's up, man? Thank you for playing, and we look forward to seeing some of you other guys.
VTech's actively grinding right now on salary cap. He's putting a team together, so that's a guy you expect to see at least back in the single elimination at the minimum. And a guy you don't want to run into on the leaderboard in any way.
Probably not. All right, so that's it for the Madden Classic. Gibbs, now we got a little hype video, if that's true.
Oh, yeah.
We got a sick hype video coming up for the Madden Bowl, which is our next major.
5 years in the making, and we got ourselves a new Madden Challenge champion!
Throwing it, Megatron! The underdog is on the board.
If Skimbo scores a touchdown, the game's over.
Culpepper has space, and a little pressure, he throws an interception! That could be the ball game!
Oh my goodness, look at him!
Looking deep, Gronkowski, a one-handed grab, are you kidding me? Going to the end zone, and it's intercepted! And the crowd gets to their feet here at EA Play.
All that hard work, all those late nights, all the validation of playing Madden at such a high level, starting to come true in these closing seconds.
So there you go. That is the Madden Bowl. We saw so many people asking, how do I get involved in these things when they're watching it on streams? The answer is now. You can get involved right now.
You saw a lot of people not just asking how to get involved, AJ, but actually claiming that they could take down some of the competitors that they were watching play on Twitch and they were watching play on Facebook, and they said, I could beat these guys. And I said, you know what? now you got a chance to prove it because Season 2 is open. These guys will be back. These new players will have a chance. Now you have no excuse, and so I expect to see some of those Twitch talkers to get in.
I mean, guys, I talked to Spot Me Please literally after he just hoisted the belt over his head from winning. And I said, what are you going to do next? How are you getting ready for the Madden Bowl? And he's like, well, I'm probably going to take a week off, a few days off, but then I'm going to be right back on that grind. And we're going to see him, I'm assuming, right there. So that's it, guys. You just got to sign up for MUT Rewards to get yourself registered in the system, and then you're going to want to start climbing those online leaderboards right now, which is in Draft Champions ranked and Salary Cap ranked. So, guys, that's it for the Madden Bowl. Start working towards it right now. Next, Gibbs, we got to start talking about early predictions.
Yep.
What do you think the meta will be when we shift away from Draft Champions, something that is inherently different in the live finals than a mode where you are able to bring the exactly the playbook that you want and exactly the players that you want within the salary limits?
I think you're going to see a lot more people passing the ball. I think that passing is going to dominate the entire strategy.
Why is that?
Because you're going to get guys like Boog, Spot Me Please, Skimbo, where they're going to go spend their salary cap is on their passing offense, the receivers. And one of the things they say about Draft Champions is certain defenses work better in Draft Champions when you don't have the best receivers available to you. So a lot of the critique of Draft Champions was, well, D. Jones, the defense he was running, all that coverage, is a very good defense for Draft Champions. Maybe not so much for a salary cap tournament where you're going to have Boogs, who's going to have Jerry Rice out there. He's going to have Julio Jones, Steve McNair, quarterback. He's going to have every single receiver that he needs to be able to run the offense he needs to get separation from people.
Okay, so my question to you then, Gibbs, is will we see more offense than we saw, and this is for you too, Farles, will we see more offense than we saw in the Madden Classic, or will we see more defense than we saw in the Madden Classic?
Defensively, players will be better because their teams will be more optimized to what they want to do. So no one will show up without a Mel Blount, in my opinion. Everyone will have him unless somebody else new comes out. But
right.
For the most part, defense will be stronger because they'll be able to pick where their weakness is, as opposed to Draft Champions somewhat giving them some of where their weakness is, but then also allowing them to pick a little bit of where their weakness is. So I expect more defense, but like Gibb said, more of an offensive show because everyone will feel comfortable, A, with their playbook, B, with their team, about where they can go. So offense, I think just it will be played at a higher level because there's less randomness in the mode versus a Draft Champions mode where part of the skill of Draft Champions is taking one draft, utilizing the randomness to your advantage, versus salary cap where studying one lineup and getting familiar with it is more rewarded. So both have those elements, and you're weak in both areas, but both take a slightly different amount of both take a ton of time and research and knowing all the items, but one of them does it randomly a little bit more, and one of them does it more
I agree with you.
With picks.
I agree with you. I think we're probably going to see the meta at a higher level, perhaps, or maybe not at a higher level necessarily, but at a different level, because you're literally using playbooks and players that you've been practicing with for months, versus guys that you maybe you had to adapt to. I think that's the two big key differences for me between Draft Champions and Salary Cap is using the playbook and players that you know versus adapting. And adaptation is a huge thing for Draft Champions, and I think they both provide equally interesting outcomes, but it will be interesting to see just that high level of just familiarity that these people have, and how does that change things?
What I really like about Salary Cap Ranked is no player has an excuse this time, and there were players that had better drafts than other players, and there were players that got their comfortable playbooks versus players that didn't get their playbooks, but that's all part of the realm of possibility in Draft Champions. Everyone knows that going into it. But now you don't really have that well, I didn't have my guy. I didn't have my Brandon Cooks. I didn't have my Randy Moss. I didn't have my playbook. There's none of that in salary cap. It all kind of falls back on you as saying, wow, that guy had Steven Jackson. He was smarter than me. Not like, oh, he had Steven Jackson. He's lucky he got to pick him. Everyone has a chance to get every item. So
Right.
As we get further towards Madden Bowl and people start to build those teams up, it goes back to you, and you don't really have that excuse. So not that anyone used that as an excuse, but it's even better.
All right, Gibbs, any final thoughts on the meta going into the Madden Bowl? You guys have any predictions as well? Who do you think, if you were to make predictions, I'm not going to make any personally, but I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think we will see again because of their specific strengths, and who do you think there's a chance does not make Madden Bowl that did make the Madden Classic, if you want to?
I think Spot Me Please, I think he makes another run. His defense was so good. His passing offense is just going to get better from going into salary cap. I think Problem needs to get his offense figured out. I think it's going to become more of an offensive game. I think his defense was good. It got him pretty far. But, he ran into D. Jones, who completely locked him up. Look at D. Jones. I have questions about his defense now. But we'll see how some of those storylines unfold. I also look at guys like Jet Steele. I think he could make another run. Other guys I got eliminated. Drag. You got Goes Madden out there. You got Matster Gamer. Big time salary cap.
Bob Marley.
Like Matster Gamer, big time salary cap player. He's the number one guy on the leaderboard every single year. He's a salary cap specialist. I really think I kind of feel like he could get a shot to make it into the group stages through qualifying. So,
Charles?
Just got to get to group stage. Like Gibbs said, there was a lot of good players that got eliminated. They just didn't get a draft that went their way, or they didn't get a playbook that went their way, or they missed a bounce here or a bounce there. So those players that Gibbs noted, I think have a big chance to come back in salary cap and kind of control some of those things that they couldn't the first time. And then as far as players continuing to make runs, the only questions I really have revolve around some of the emotional guys a guy like a Little Man who is a veteran in the community, a guy like a Joke who's a veteran in the community. They used that energy to fuel them to Burbank, but once they got to Burbank, it kind of backfired on them a little bit. They got really hyped up, really excited. They both started out pretty good, and then the emotion of the day just kind of like coasted down, and they couldn't finish off the job. So I expect Little Man to learn from it, and I expect a guy like Joke to learn from it, because they're both technically on the sticks, X's and O's, tremendous. And they'll definitely make a run back, and it's just controlling it once they get there.
Yeah, I mean, the mental side of it, sorry, Gibbs.
No, you're good.
The mental side of it is such a huge aspect, and I'm not throwing him under the bus here, he literally told us afterwards, Lil Man was like, yeah, I just, after losing that game the way that I did to Esdello in his first game of the day, he's like, I couldn't recover mentally. And he got blown out 27-0 in his next game by True Boy, and he was like, that was a byproduct of me not being able to overcome the mental just valley that I fell into in losing the game the way he did to Esdello, which, to be honest, there were some bounces that definitely didn't go his way. He got another field goal blocked, a field goal that would have put him in the lead, and it didn't work out for him in that game, but you just have to, get over that, and I look forward to see how guys like Joke, Lil Man,
There'll be times where I play a game online, and it's a super, super close game, and you either win or you lose, and it's super, super close, right? And then you go, I'll play one more for the stream. They want me to play one more. I'll play one more.
Famous last words.
And then you match up against somebody really good, and you just get the doors blown off of you, and it's like, well, the last game just took a lot out of me, and it's like, dude, you're sitting in a chair clicking buttons. It's like, no, it takes a lot of emotion. I don't know. It's just weird, and then you get blown out, and you're like, I wasn't ready to play that game. I would have rather played that person when I was fresh, in one of the early games of the day, and not the more games you go on, though, it happens.
Every Madden game has a peak and valley of your emotions and excitement, and And because of that, that's where you get that emotionally like exhausted from a game. And I know like people will soon figure this out more and more as they play more competitively and they get into the bigger stage of the esports. I mean, it's why we call it sport. It has a lot of the same emotions and feelings that you have from a traditional sports. You're just not as physically involved in terms of running around and making play, but your mind is just as active. You have to still think of all those scenarios, and the highs and lows come with it.
And you get like those guys at the Super Bowl, they come running out of the tunnel and they're like, I can't wait to hit somebody. I'm so excited right now.
Right.
And then they get a 15-yard flag on the opening kickoff for, late hit.
That's
like
emotion. That's because
it's like, what? Why did we do that?
Yeah.
Right.
And
things start to snowball.
Yeah.
Anyway, good luck to everybody competing
Quick predictions.
on the online.
Quick predictions. You got. I know no one likes doing predictions. Who's going to win Madden Bowl?
I honestly think it's going to be Spot Me, Please.
Farles.
He's my favorite.
Can't say.
You have to say. I literally just had to say. You have to say.
You have to say.
Skip.
You
Farless.
have to pick a guy. Skip Farless.
Can't be all of a sudden be good guy Farles right now.
Oh, I don't care about being a good guy, bad guy. I don't have enough information yet at this time to make a educated decision.
Make a blind judgment.
I think Spot Me Please is the favorite without a doubt. I think Bogues can get there, but I think Spot Me Please. I mean, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's going to win.
Yeah.
So.
You know what?
You got one?
Okay, Rico. Uncle Rico.
Let's not forget about Problem, too. we can't forget about Problem.
All right, move on. We're going to
move on. We got to talk about this Teddy Bruschi, Gibbs. I know you've been salivating over there, wanting to just talk about this Teddy Bruschi item.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about him then. He's a Pat.
Yeah.
Well, here's what Gibbs is going to say.
Favorite.
Well, you might remember Teddy Bruschi from some of those snow games right there against the Dolphins. This guy from Arizona State, not only does he sit up there with Trey Wingo, but this guy also goes full tilt, full time. Last week he got a legend, 38 cap. He's only 6'1" and he's maybe a little bit slow, but the amount of heart that this guy has, I tell you what, he's a grinder out there. I love Teddy Bruschi. I met this guy. I got a book signed by him. I really think he's one of the better players in Ultimate Team. I know he's only got 81 hit power, but boom, I expect him to make some big plays.
I love how Farles, who is also from Massachusetts, is making fun of your Massachusetts accent.
Right.
Gibbs, I noticed he's got that 93 awareness. How important do you actually think, and obviously that's playing into his overall rating, how important do you think awareness is for a middle linebacker?
Sure. So when we're talking about like for building for a salary cap team, I think that if you're going to use this guy as a user, you got to rethink everything. I think that he needs to be a set it and forget it kind of guy, but even his zone coverage is a little low. But I think he's going to primarily be great for you in run defensive situations, and I think that's his role. His role is a run-first defender. 85 speed's pretty good, but his hit power low. Again, zone coverage a little low, block shed a little low. But that awareness, that play rec, and that tackle, and that pursuit to make him a great run defender.
If he's going to be a great run defender, his block shed needs to be higher for me.
Yes and no. Yes and no. He's going to fill gaps, but what he's going to be really good at is like if it's a toss, he'll scrape, get out wide for you pretty well, take the right angles.
I like his tackle rating for sure.
Yeah, he's going to be wrap up tackle. Terrible. So when I look at it, I ask, well, when I see high awareness, especially at the linebacker position, what does that matter? I think it matters when it comes to your actual run defense for a non-user player. Farles might have a difference of opinion with the Bruschi.
He's a pass for me just because there's so much good linebacker talent in Ultimate Team right now. There's an array of middle linebackers. I would love to have this guy. 93 play rec is no joke. An 84 zone, an 86 block shed, we're calling that low somehow, but that's really solid.
Yeah. Solid.
This guy will make plays like a Luke Kuechly, like a Levante David. You put him in your lineup, you forget about him. He'll come across the ball more often than not. So I do like that ability for him. He's got the tackle machine chemistry, 84 strength in the middle. But for what I want to do at my middle linebacker position, I need a little bit more speed on he would be my second middle linebacker. I would use somebody else, either the Buchanan or the Urlacher or a Nitschke, somebody of that type. And then I would say my second linebacker, I need like a Wagner or a Buchanan or a Mark Barron who's faster and can man up guys. Bruschi is going to be more of a zone coverage guy. I prefer to man up that second middle linebacker, so I need more of a man coverage guy. And that's why I would skip the Bruschi for now, for me. Compare him to the Singletary, see where the price falls at, and then move on from there. But you can't deny the play rec.
I'm going to go here for me, and I'm going to go here for guys exactly like Gibbs said who need a middle linebacker that they don't want to use her.
Right.
If I have another middle linebacker that I like to use her, a guy with more speed, I definitely want Brewski on that other side to handle the defense that I'm not controlling with the sticks. So I'm going to take that. All right, moving on to this Jerry Rice item. Obviously, the highlight of the Legends this past weekend. A lot of people looking forward to Jerry, as you can see why. Even MUT Guru gave these out to some people who came to the live finals last week, which was huge. I need one.
Yeah.
I need one right now.
Is he the GOAT?
Yesterday. I need one yesterday.
The question we ask here is he must-have, Farles?
Is he the GOAT? Is he must-have?
You started off.
So the GOAT is in Ultimate Team now. Jerry Rice makes his wide receiver debut. If you look at his ratings here, 91 speed, 92 spec, 91 catch in traffic, and 95 route running. 96 is where I like to see items like Antonio Brown, who gets great animations, great cuts. So, is Jerry Rice a must-have item? Well, let's go back and see how much he's currently on the market for, and let's talk a little bit about his playmaker ability chemistry. You might say, what's that P on his item for? Well, that means that you can take control of him when you're passing the ball by holding down the left trigger and flicking the right stick. If he's the closest receiver to you, he'll get a really sharp cut, and you can direct him upfield. Now, the Rice is settling in at about 600,000 coins. That's a lot. Ed McCaffrey's out there for about 400. Randy Moss is out there. We got to check his cost. We can do that after. So, are you asking me, is Jerry Rice for 600,000 the best receiver in the game? I'm going to say his overall blend of ratings with the route running, if you can get him one of his chemistries so that his route running goes up to 96, I'll take it. I'm glad to see they gave him 91 speed. I wish his catch in traffic was flipped with his spec. However, I'd like to point out that the new Jordy Nelson Team of the Week, if you sort by 90 spec, 90 catch in traffic, 93 route running, and the speed, the only item that comes up is either Most Feared Hopkins or Jordy Nelson. The only two other items are Antonio Brown and Jerry Rice. So if you want this type of receiver who does what Jerry Rice does, you go get yourself the Jordy Nelson for much less coins. Obviously, the Jerry Rice is better and has playmaker. But the only really other great receiver is Julio Jones that has that playmaker. Now, I don't know if the meta is going to be multiple guys with playmaker or just one guy with playmaker, but that's up to you. I really am looking forward to trying this Jerry Rice out, but I don't think at this time I would pay 600,000 coins for the opportunity.
So you make a great point, and I meant to bring this up before when we were talking about Madden Bowl predictions. So one of my big predictions as we head into salary cap for what you look at is the playmaker is going to dominate salary cap. I think someone is going to have a strategy going into the Madden Bowl. All of the receivers are going to be playmaker receivers, and that is going to be the focal point.
At least 2-3 of them.
That's going to be the focal point of how they win. They're going to take advantage of one of the most dominant chemistry abilities in the game, playmaker, and you are going to see a 5-receiver spread, 4-receiver spread offense that takes advantage of every single guy in the field, being able to left trigger, flick them upfield. At the flick of a hat, they go.
All right,
because
Gibbs,
that's a big-time play.
You just bring up a good point. For those who don't know what the playmaker trait does, can you explain that real quick?
Sure. So Farles touched on it.
From a gameplay standpoint.
Farles touched on it when he was talking, but we can talk about it again here too. So if you don't hold down left trigger while your receivers are running the routes after you snap the ball, and you flick the right stick up, the closest receiver to you,
or in any direction,
the closest receiver to you, literally physically to the quarterback, will go in the direction you tell them to go. The playmaker chemistry ability allows you to get instant control of them, whereas if you're just using a regular receiver, you don't get instant control, and they don't go the direction you tell them to go. They go on like an angle. Go on like a Kurt angle.
Sometimes good, but not always good.
So the playmaker ability on these items basically does what it used to be before it was tuned to
Correct.
be more sim.
Correct. So so here's the thing. I think that the Jerry Rice is going to fit into the meta because of the playmaker function. I actually compare him to he's like an upgrade to Tim Brown. I think Tim Brown is one of the better like route running possession style receivers in the game, and then Jerry Rice is a big time upgrade to him. So
yeah, but Tim Brown's catching traffic is flipped from from his spec. So
right.
Tim Brown hangs onto the ball. That's what makes him amazing.
And good route running, 92 route running. Before this, the 92 route running was really good. I know you had Antonio Brown.
Yeah, no, it's still good. It's still good, but I've noticed with like Harrison and Brown, like Brown hangs on to the ball.
Right.
Not everybody does. Like Randy Moss will drop it. He has 90 catching traffic. So
right.
I'm interested to see where if Jerry's going to hang on to the ball.
Sure.
Because they didn't need to give. I would have rather have him given him the catching traffic than the spec.
And
he has both, and they're equal. But
one last note on the Rice. You made a great point, Farles. The Rice, while he is a 95 overall, in my opinion, he is not the best overall receiver in the game. He's the best receiver when it comes to like a specific thing you need him to do. If you need him to play playmaker, sure, that's great because he has that ability. If you need him to be a downfield like speed threat, he's not the guy. He's got 91 speed. That's good. If you need him to be a big-time spectacular catch guy, he's not the guy. It's Randy Moss.
He's going to get the animations for
right.
you one-on-one.
So just know that going into like the Rice is good. You need to have a specific way to use him to take advantage of his skill set.
Potentially,
I think we're going to see guys like Problem.
Oh yeah,
using the playmaker.
Problem's going to take
For
advantage
sure.
of this playmaker stuff in his salary cap lineup. I can feel it.
He's potentially too balanced for his own good.
Yeah,
but he's really good across the board.
Yeah,
really good.
I'll take it. All right, moving on to what could be the best running back in Madden Ultimate Team right now, Gibbs.
Just one problem, AJ, and we'll get to it.
Oh boy, here
got
we
a
go.
problem.
What's
Skip
the problem?
Farless has a problem.
What's the problem?
Well, why don't you guys review them?
I'm gonna review them. I'm gonna try to get quick on the sticks here.
A lot of Johnsons in the NFL, Gibbs.
There's a lot of them.
Derek Johnson, David Johnson. Who else is on there?
Here you go.
Keyshawn Johnson.
No, he's not in that game.
And here you go. For 550,000 coins, you can get into a 93 overall, battle-ready, limited-time use only, David Johnson.
There he is. The new Team of the Week item, David Johnson. David Johnson has easily been the best running back in the NFL this year. And he's gotten some items, but this is by far his best one, Gibbs, at 92 speed, 92 juke move,
90
truck, 92 acceleration. He's 6'1",
and he's battle ready.
Yeah, can you take a closer look at some of his other ratings? I'm trying to remember what his catch rating was.
He has about 80 route running, which is extremely high for a halfback.
Yeah. And that's realistic too. David Johnson has had an incredible year receiving the football.
I mean, I just look at any battle ready guy and I immediately assume that they're one of the best in the game. I think battle ready is that important. And then you take a look at some of his trucking. His truck's a little lower than Henry. I just think he's so well rounded. He's getting to that 5-tool player with he has juke move, like the spin move, truck. Elusive is a little low, but he's getting to that point where like he could be the guy that you can run any scheme with him. You can have him be elusive. You can have him be a trucker.
Quick reminder on what Battle Ready does. Battle Ready makes the tackle battle always the same button with your running back. So you basically just sit there and hammer the A button or X button on
Smash.
PS4. And you're always going to win that tackle battle, assuming you hit that button fast enough.
But are you going to fall forward?
His strength is 82.
Have you used him? Is this your problem with him?
I'm working on a review item to give him a shot. However, I've noticed through Mudhead that his falls forward or fights for extra yard trait is set to no.
Okay.
So I will personally have to review him because Todd Gurley, Color Rush, who's 90 speed, 400,000 coins, has a fights for extra yards trait set to yes. Similar truck. You also have Ezekiel Elliott, who's Energizer. I'd rather have Battle Ready, obviously, but the Zeke Elliott's 92 speed also. More of an elusive style back, 90 elusive with 83 truck, where Johnson's 90 truck, 83 elusive. So they're flipped. So those are all the questions you got to ask yourself. I like that you get the ability to catch out of the backfield with him. I think that's where you're going to justify spending the extra coins. But if he's not going to fall forward, the meta of the tournament right now is if you need 2 yards and you get hit at the line of scrimmage, are you going to pick it up? Because if you're not, it's not worth it.
Can I use this opportunity to say how impressed I am with the items this year, though, and how much variety you get based
chemistry
on
abilities are
all these
fabulous,
new
too.
chemistry abilities? You have decisions to make. So Farls may decide, I want to use this Color Rush Todd Gurley, whereas Gibbs and I may be like, no, the Battle Ready trait means more to me. I just think that's cool, and big shout out to our Forge team for creating some really compelling items this year that give you a lot of options, and it makes you kind of have to choose what type of player.
Right now, you have Donovan McNabb, who's the best quarterback in the game on paper, and then you have Derek Carr, who's an amazing quarterback, but he's not quite as good as the McNabb, but he has conductor. So you get some extra boosts on the field gameplay-wise.
Gibbs wants nobody that doesn't have conductor.
And so it's a decision you got to make. Yeah. And once you use that battle ready and you're used to it, if you go to a back, you give me a back who's 3 speed faster, but you're not winning tackle battles anymore.
But at the same time, you mentioned the quarterbacks. Gibbs needs the conductor trait because he makes way more adjustments before the line than I do. Whereas it's less important to me than some of those other abilities.
Chemistry abilities have been one of the better, like for me, the way I like to play. Like it just gives the game so much more choices and decisions to make of players, and I absolutely love them. And they're just fun. They're fun to have. They create conversation. You like for example, you like the Energizer guys.
I do.
Like the LaShawn McCoy, you chirp the McCoy.
He's just a good back. It's got nothing to do with Energizer. I like agility. I like agility in my back. I don't like a 92 speed back with 89 agility.
Okay.
Because I cut on dimes.
Oh, okay.
I will say Energizer's not my favorite, but
you're a Duracell guy?
I think it's cool. All right, we got to move on to this Vontaze Perfect.
A lot of people think this guy's the perfect linebacker, but what do you guys think?
You beat me to the pun. I thought you were all out of puns after last week.
My major question for this
does hit power matter?
Let me see this right here. So, team of the week, Vontaze Perfect, linebacker, 81 speed. Some people may think that's slow, but Gibbs, you're looking at 94 hit power right here. What do you think about the Perfect?
94 power.
Until 94 hit power, until hit power really emerges and shows to me that like it has that much value, then I kind of shying away. But I like the price of them right now. I think
what has not been proven to you? We saw guys coughing up the football left and right because of big hits.
I'm not seeing the manual hit sticks like I once did.
It's because S. Gibbs has put his head in the sand for the last month of Madden and has not taken note since most feared. Brian Urlacher, Brian Dawkins. These guys are laying lumber.
And he's got good block shit, good pursuit,
Clowney.
good
There are
tackle,
fumbles all over the field. There's free balls to be had everywhere. Gibbs, not forcing them, not respecting hit power, not a man of the people. And if you don't think this perfect, he's too slow, you don't think you can throw this guy over the middle, I think this guy, worth it.
Personally, I want this guy more than Teddy Bruschi.
More than Teddy Bruschi as a run defender. You get this guy in your lineup, he's going to lay the lumber and force some fumbles.
91 block.
And it's time for S. Gibbs
power, give him to me.
Better Bruschi.
To recognize that hit power's for real.
All right. Listen, I want to try him. I'd try him before the Bruschi, but before that, we got to get to the next guy.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hates Brewskis.
No, that's not true.
A guy by the name of Jordan Howard, Gibbs, is who you're looking at.
Yep.
Chicago Bears running back Jordan Howard gets a team of the week. Is this guy the best budget back in Ultimate Team? Let's see what the ratings say. So we have, looks like 89 speed, 89 ball carrier vision. I love that he has 93 carry, also has 92 truck. So is this guy at 44 cap value, Gibbs, the best salary cap back in the game or even the best budget back in the game?
A salary cap a little high because I know you can get into a Derrick Henry for the Derrick Henry most feared battle ready for the same
can't
cap.
Catch.
So true. But I think this is one of the most balanced guys, and I think what puts him over the edge is that truck is 92. You got to monitor, does he fall forward? I think his price is going to continually drop, but for $65K to get into a Jordan Howard today, try him out with, again, look at what he gives you, 89 speed, 90 agile, 90 excel. Typically, you get those guys that like a little lower agility there, right? He's mixed up well. I really like Howard for the price. You got to monitor, though. Does he fall forward?
We'll have to find out. I like what he brings to the table. Definitely worth a shot in your lineup.
I'm going to test him for 70K. That's pretty good.
I love that both of these guys right here think 70K is a budget back. Obviously, the man of the people understands that.
It's budget compared to the other backs that we just looked at, like that David Johnson.
I got you
That's
guys.
all I'm saying.
In the chat, I'll hook you guys up with some real budget backs.
Okay.
We'll talk later.
Skip
All right.
Farless.
Moving on. Speaking of Joe Farles, let's go to Joe Flacco.
For roughly 12K, that's a nice deal for Joe Flacco.
Is that a budget, though, Farles? I don't know. Is that a budget?
Is it a budget?
You're not going to get an elite quarterback at this point.
No, the question is Joe Flacco elite?
Do you guys pay attention?
He says he is.
Is Joe Flacco elite? Joe Flacco has not been elite in Madden for 3 full seasons because of his deep accuracy. There is better options out there. I can get you into Matthew Stafford for less. OS Millennium said he's looking to get Joe Flacco to quarterback his team, and I said, OS Millennium, I have great news for you. It's not going to cost you anything because nobody wants this Joe Flacco elite item. He's 6'6", 76 speed, great throw power. If you need a big arm, I wish if both his short and medium were at 90, then this Flacco is the guy that you can utilize. But with only 84 deep accuracy, you got to pass on this Joe Flacco. It's unfortunate. That's my opinion on him. I think that there's better options out there available at quarterback. But if you need a budget guy with a big arm, you could go here.
Gibbs, quick hot take on Joey Flacco.
No, don't even. I mean,
Gibbs is bitter about Joe Flacco because the Ravens always somehow smash the Pats in the playoffs.
That's not true either.
You can't play both sides of the
That's not true either. I think his concern, though, is that they're actually deep. Matt Stafford, I think it's a gold Matt Stafford, is actually a better option, more throw power, roughly the same. If they're actually deep, that's his concern. There's
and is Matt Stafford not do enough last Sunday to maybe get another item? So
we'll see.
You know, they throw Flacco out there, but I want to keep seeing Matt Stafford's.
All right.
He's a great quarterback for the people.
All right, our final item here, we're looking at a Ladarius Green as Gibbs looks it up. And Gibbs, as you bring this item up, I want you to tell me why he needs to be on every salary cap squad.
The question is not why he needs to be on every salary cap squad. The question is why he does not. That's the question we're posing. And the reason for it, take a look. Why?
Oh, here's why. You're sour on him.
No,
okay.
Here's why. He is not as much of an upgrade as people think at the tight end position when you think of his previous item when you look at the salary cap. So what happens is people are trying to find value, like a good value tight end at salary cap. And what a lot of people are going towards is this Ladarius Green, the 78 overall green. And this is the guy people are looking at for 26 cap. He's 7 cap less, which is a significant amount when you're thinking tight end. You need a guy that's better than, what's the tight end people are using right now? The Dre guy. He's like 8 cap.
Jim Dre, baby.
Dre. So
Fedorowicz.
My suggestion will be you stay with the 78 gold Ladarius Green. He still gives you 84 spectacular catch. His catch and traffic goes up a little bit with this 84, but you got to monitor that cap difference.
So you're saying it's not worth 7 extra cap to get 1 speed, 3 strength, 3 run block, and like a bunch of spec.
Because at that point, like I would just say go to the Jared Cook, who's 2 more salary cap.
S. Gibbs.
35.
It took an entire hour of the MUT Cast, but I actually agree with you on this.
Wow.
That's a great point. That's a great point. You're if obviously this is the better item for your ultimate team, but for your salary cap team, you got to consider those extra 7 cap where you could just get into another guy. At that point, the initial Ladarius Green is a great budget tight end. I think you should have him on your squad. Yeah, I like his upgrades to 70 and 70 in the blocking, but for the most part, he makes a pretty valid point.
I think we can all agree Ladarius Green is a great salary cap player, being 6'6", having a lot of speed, 87, 88 speed.
At tight end, yeah.
Beats cover
catch.
2.
Yeah, beats cover 2. I think we can all agree, whichever one you choose based on where your salary is, Ladarius Green's a great tight end.
Without a doubt, this Ladarius Green, the 78,
is very good.
He's the guy you're going to see on salary cap rosters for tight end. He's fast. You don't necessarily need route running for tight ends because they're going to be on quick slants, quick drags. This is the guy you go with. He gives you the speed. He gives you a downfield option. Monitor your cap value, though.
There we go.
That'll do it.
All right. That'll do it for our Team of the Week items that we've been reviewing. Farles, Gibbs, any closing thoughts today?
That's it. Thanks for checking
All
it
right,
out.
guys. Be sure to start climbing those ladders right now. Salary cap and DC ranked.
Yeah, that's the one thing I would say. Salary cap
Build
season
your
2 is
salary
open.
cap.
Start building your team. If you have specific questions, tweet them to the MUT handle. We'll break them down on the next MUT Cast. But other than that, start getting your salary cap lineup locked, loaded, ready to go for season 2. It's active.
And if you ever have any questions that you want us to feature on the MUT Cast, use the hashtag MUTCast. Ask us your questions, and we will do our best to get to them in the shows. Gibbs, Farles, thank you guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.